Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to a series in which I am going to take middling archetypes that do nothing in the current format and try to buff it using cards that have either just released or that are going to be released in the future. So today we're going to be looking at a deck that is near and dear to my own little heart, Kashtira Utopia. Now, let me walk through here. So you might remember Utopia as the deck that got 1 quadrillion cards in 2021, I believe, with the release of Lightning Overdrive, the booster set, as well as the side set of Brothers of Legend, only for it to see tops at exactly one regional and then fall off the face of the earth entirely. This There was reasons for this, however. There wasn't a good one card starter in the deck. There wasn't any recursion in the deck. And it was a very fragile combo, meaning a good player could stop you at a point where your game plan would be truly over after they hit you there. However, I think we can still breathe some life into this ailing archetype with some new cards coming out in Photon Hypernova. And these are, of course, the Kashtiras. Now, the Kashtiras are an interesting archetype. They are a rank 7 archetype, so you might be wondering why they fit in with the Utopias so well. Well, you see, they have a searchable special summon in the form of Kashtira Riseheart, as well as having a very interesting level 7 Xyz monster in the form of Raid Raptor Arsenal Falcon. Now, what we're trying to do with this is we are trying to summon out Zephyros the Elite from our deck in order to go plus 1,000,000, as well as recur a bunch of resources and try and outgrind our opponent with our Utopia monsters, as well as Fenrir beats. How we're going to be doing this is by bouncing back really powerful cards such as the Kashtira Field Spell, as well as Automatic Pickup, attempting to go on turn 3 and turn 4 into Utopia Rising, as well as searching Birth to summon back Fenrir over and over and over again. We are playing some cards from the OCG, as you can see on the screen as well. You've obviously got the Kashtiras coming out in Photon Hypernova, but you've also got the Galaxy Photon Dragon. This is a card which is just in here to search out another card called Last Hope Numbers. We don't know the release of this card, but this card is just phenomenal and is really an amazing piece of recursion that the deck is given, allowing you to bring back 2 monsters and then overlay into our next card, which is number 30 in Utopia Rising. We do know when this is coming out. This is coming out in Maze of Memories. The set with the Gate Guardian support that I'm praying is good, but knowing my heart is going to be terrible. This card's insane. Like all Utopia cards, for some reason they just give Utopia anything it could ever want. And this card is just it allows you to recur monsters. It allows you to go for Dragoner setups. It allows you to just pretty much do anything you could ever really want. And it's also recurable itself, so we love that. All in all, what we are hoping to do here is make a Utopia board that resists a lot of interaction with our Omni negates as well as our spell negates and monster negates. Then kill our opponent on turn 3. If not, use our really powerful recursions to win the game. Don't know how good this will be, but let's test it out in a few games and let's see how it goes. Now, before we start the games, I did want to show off the one card combo here, just to let you see what I'm talking about when it comes to one card combo. We are just going to be going through this line with the Kashtiras, summoning out the Kashtiras, going for a copy of Riseheart, then summoning the Riseheart and going into Arsenal Falcon. Now, this is the card that really makes the deck tick, and if they ever ban this card, well, Lord have mercy in this deck. You're going to go through the math mech line into circular. Circular might seem like a weird card, especially because you're having to play 2 bricks in the form of subtraction as well as the equation, but it's so strong. Plus, it is just a generic rank level 4 monster that can special summon itself. So I think it's very good and probably just like a necessary requirement in the deck. But as you can see, we're going really hard plus right now. We even got to recur the Para Isos with our Zephyros Elite, allowing us more follow-up with the Kashtiras in the next turn. And as you can see, just as we summon off the last card of Dragoner, this is the board that we're going to be usually ending on. It's going to be an F0, 2 monster negates, and a spell negate. Let's go into the games and let's see if this is good enough. Now, I wanted to start off with this because I think it shows very well how good the Kashtiras are at helping Utopia go second, and notoriously really bad going second deck Let's see how the Kashtira's help them. So we are playing against Libromancer here. They're going to go emergency teleport out for a copy of Geek Boy and search a card off the Geek Boy. They're going to go for their new card, actually, Libromancer Origin. That's going to set them a field spell from deck to hand. From deck to field, actually, never mind. They're just going through the Libromancer line that has been known and developed for quite some time now, getting Fireburst, going for Magician's Souls, sending the Origin. Oh, guess it was a good use for the card after all. Going to go Herald here, grabbing a Ben 10, and then going for a really early Baron, meaning even if we had a Nibiru, we couldn't really activate it. They are going to summon out a Doombroker, get a Vanity's Fiend for next turn, and then set a copy of Intervention. Scary board. We are going to start off here with a copy of Unicorn, then activate Papyrus. They are forced to negate here because we are going to get Fenrir with that, and they do not want that to happen. No bother though, we still have our Unicorn, and we are going to kill this IP Masquerena because they can't really bounce it back to our hand. We are going to search a copy of Birth, then go for the automatic pickup, then go for Para. We are going to be searching a bunch of names, and we're trying to find out this Baron negate, but they're not wanting to do it. So what we're going to be doing is sort of trying to force it out in other ways. Don't know if you saw that, but that was an automatic pickup changing the cash tiers to level 4. Yes, that there is even more ways you can abuse automatic pickup in this deck. Rather than just bouncing it back to hand, you can change cards back. Now that we've got the circular, we are just all the way through. We are just spitting out rank 4 bodies like nobody's business. And even if our opponent wanted to stop us here, we are about to make it impossible. We are going to search a card of last hope numbers and go for a really early F0, meaning that they can no longer interact with us. We're going to make an Ascended Sage and go into Utopia. Utopia's going to search us, the rank up magic. We're going to go all the way up into Dragnar. And I'm going to force this out now. I'm going to detach 2 and go into Stealth Krageneer, trying to pop the Baron. They're going to negate with Baron. We're going to negate with F0, take it, and after realizing we get all the effects of the Baron as well, popping the field spell, they will then concede. Next game, we are up against Ninjas. Now, I wanted to choose this one because it shows a thing Utopia had a really hard trouble with in the past, and that was monster removal, especially in normal summons. So we'll see how the Fenrirs and the Kashtiras help us through here. So they are going to go normal summon Hanzo, search them a copy of the Super Transformation, and then set 2 and pass. Looks not assuming, but it's everything they could want. They're going to do duplication here, summoning out Tobari as well as Baku. Baku's going to add back the Hanzo, and then we're going to tribute off the Fenrir for Pankratops. The better Pankratops is here. Pankratops is going to destroy another Fenrir, and then we're going to summon another Fenrir. Going for the Rise Heart. We are going to then summon a copy of Unicorn here, searching ourselves the last card in our deck, which is the Birth. We are going to go Rise Heart into Arsenal Falcon, and we are just doing the line here. We are just on autopilot, except they go for the new card. Right, I forgot about that card actually. We are going to bring back the card they just banished, which is the Rise Heart, and normal summon our Ascended Sage. This is because we drew it and we do need to get it out of our hands somehow. So we're just going to normal summon it. We are going to go for a really early Leo Utopia right here, as well as bouncing the Onomato pickup back with our Zephyros. Just really crazy that we can do that. And now we have follow up for the next turn, as well as the next turn after that with the Birth. We have so much recursion. Everything that we could ever want is in our hand, and we are just going to hit in here for 3k. Unfortunately, we can't kill, but we can still make a Zeus here. Get 2 more names to our hand for the next turn and pass back to them. They're going to summon a Magnamut here and then activate the effect. We're going to negate with Pegasus Twin Saber. They're going to draw for turn. Another Magnamut. Brilliant. Okay. They're going to banish another card, and we're going to negate that too. They are then going to be special summoning the Ecclesia. They're going to go for Fallen of Albaz. We're going to summon Stelkragen and remove it at the point of resolution, meaning they can no longer fuse. And after that, they're just going to concede. So for the final game here, I wanted to go up against Kashtira to show how it interacts with, well, its own kind. We have drawn a very, very middling hand. Just a bunch of cards that don't really do much on their own, but you'll see that we can still do something with these cards. They're going first here, and they're going to try and zone lock us. Very fun. I cannot wait to play against this when Photon Hypernova comes out. They are going to go for a Birth here, and I was confused by this until I started seeing them add very, very powerful extenders to the hand. And after I saw them banish that, I realized exactly what was happening. They are going double Shangra Era here. Summoning back the Rise Heart, they're going to banish the Big Bang and then banish 3 cards off the top of our deck. And then banish another few cards, and then Zone Lockers for 2, then summon back the Tearlament, and then go for Diablosis. They're going to banish the F-Zero here, making sure there's not very much that we can do in order to take our cards back. They're going to banish another 2 zones, then banish another 2 zones, and we are starting to have a problem here, especially when they go for the standby phase and they summon out a copy of Unicorn. No matter though, we have a field spell and they can't lock field spell zones, so we are going to summon Fenrir, go to the battle phase, hit in to the Shangri-La, which is going to trigger Unicorn, yes, and they're going to banish out a copy of Alan Bershin here. No matter though, we still have everything we could ever want in our hands. They're going to destroy the field spell. I don't know about that. We're then going to search as a copy of the Rise Heart. The Rise Heart's going to summon itself, and then we're going to go for our Onomat line. It's not all the Onomats, but it's perfectly enough. We're going to go all the way up into Dragner, and then we're going to summon out a copy of Stealth Kraken. This is because we have enough recursion and enough guys in rotation in order to go for a Utopia double, adding ourselves double or nothing and going into Leo Utopia, using our last zone to equip a Pegasus Twin Saber. We're going to negate the Kashtira Unicorn and then get rid of the other Diablosis. They're going to attempt to activate Unicorn. We're going to attach our spell. They're going to try and go for Birth here, trying to zone lock us even more, but we're just going to banish the Shangri-La. They're going to go Birth, we're going to negate, and they're going to try and draw some really cool cards off of Triple Tack. Unfortunately, all they find is the Rise Heart, and we're going to pop that, and just like that, that's the game over. So we are back with the deck, and honestly, it looked really good, like shockingly good. Like I was truly surprised on how good this deck looked when testing. So let's do some of the pros of this deck. One is that let's not beat around the bush here. The Kashtiras are carrying hard in this deck. They are doing so much, whether it be a 1-card starter or be using Fenrir in order to deal with really problematic cards. These cards are just insane, and they do everything for this deck. And honestly, although they are expensive, they really do enhance Utopia's game plan. Number 2 is that the interactions with Zephyros the Elite specifically is really, really funny. Bouncing back a used Paraisos or bouncing back a used on-mat pickup only to be used on the next turn will never not be funny, especially when you're plussing in the process. And 3, honestly, it just feels good to play this deck. It's something you can't really explain it until you try it out, but it never really feels like you're out of the game, nor does it ever really feel like you're losing out on your recursion. The recursion in this thing is just insane. You're doing so much with all your cards, which is something Utopia is not known for in the past. Usually it's just a build your board, spit out into the field deck. But the Kashtira's really do provide something, and I'm excited to see where it goes from here. Some of the cons. One, you can see the deck size, 45. There's a lot of cards you need to be playing. You need to be playing roughly about 10 sort of the Kashtira cards, as well as your Onomats, as well as your Astro Hopes. There's maybe areas you can slim down on. Obviously, I'm playing hand traps, but it's a really tight deck in terms of main deck as well as extra deck, meaning it's going to be hard to tech cards around. 2, your access to numbers protect in this deck is actually severely limited. You need to be able to extend quite a lot in order to get numbers protection, which puts you dead to cards like the Biru and all these sorts of cards. If you hard draw Astrotopia, I mean, you're fine, but you're not going to hard draw Astrotopia all the time. Uh, it doesn't seem too bad, especially if people start to go off of Dark Ruler, but it does hurt when you get Dark Ruler and all you're left with is a Pegasus Twin Saber. In 3, it's a little bit bricky, and I won't lie about that. There are some cards you do not want to draw singletons of, such as Papyrus or Birth, if you do not have a Kashtira name, and as well as same as the Ascended Sage and sort of the Pegasus Twin Saber. But these can sort of be looked over as even if you draw 2 or 3 garnets, just as long as you're not drawing all 5 garnets, you can still win with a card like Unicorn. All in all, this is the best Utopia has looked in such a long time, and it's really refreshing to see this really ailing archetype brought into the new age in terms of recursion, in terms of power, in terms of 1-card combos. It's just really, really interesting to see where this deck is going to go from here. All in all, I cannot wait for this deck to be released. It's time to go saving up money for some Fenris. See you next time.